PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of We Have the Power is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and non-profit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Welcome to another segment of We Have the Power. I'm your host, Brian Gardner. When I come back, viable and truthful, honest reasons why Gavin Newsom must never become president, national news and local news of how our justice system is failing the good drivers on the roads of America and here in Nevada, right after this important message. If you have the proper tool, usually things just go better. And one of the best tools in keeping our young people away from drugs and alcohol abuse are the booklets from the Drug-Free World Truth About Drugs organization. Now, they have a series of booklets. Certainly, this is a drug that is out there, marijuana, and also they have it in Spanish. These booklets are free. You just go to drugfreeworld.org and you can obtain these booklets and share them with your family members, your friends. And this is a way to make sure they have the proper information, because these booklets do not say, don't take these drugs. They say this will happen to you if you do. And there's also a compilation booklet that has a series of different topics in there. One is alcohol, one is ecstasy, cocaine, crystal meth. We know that inhalants can be abused, heroin, LSD, and even prescription drugs can be abused. So use the right tool, get these free booklets from Drug-Free World, and avail yourself and your family members, especially young people that you know and are in your family, of these booklets, so that we protect our young people and our loved ones from ever getting involved with drugs or alcohol abuse. Very good idea. What a great stocking stuffer. Can you believe it? Just stuff one of those in the stockings, especially of teenagers who have a lot of pressure on them to go along with the vested interests and the peer group pressure. We don't want them to be pushed by that. So on today's program, we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom, why he should never, ever become president, some national news and local news of an upsetting nature about how our justice system regarding who gets to drive on our roads and highways is allowed. And I've got some very poignant things about that. I also have something that you can do when you feel like, how can I fight against City Hall? How can I be effective? I just got a call from the Review Journal that a letter to the editor that I wrote is going to be in Saturday's paper. Now, you might think, well, who's going to read that? Maybe a few people will read it. But you see, the thing is, I can cut that out of the paper, paste it up nicely, copy it off, and send it out to hundreds of friends, contacts, important organizations. And you see, that is a way that you can be effective. Write letters to your local paper, no matter where you're watching this broadcast. Like and subscribe and share this with people, because the whole point of We Have the Power is to make sure we elect good people who work for us, not for vested interests. But you can make a difference. You write a letter to the editor, you don't know who might see that, who might cut it out and recopy it and send to somebody else. And I would say once a month, look at the paper, find something that gets you motivated and write a letter. You may not get your letter published every single week or month because, you know, they want to give a variety of people to have letters in there. But every once in a while, you'll get a letter published and then get that thing out everywhere, which is what I plan to do. I'll read this letter to you a little later. So let's start off first with some national news that is avoidable and horrific, and it shows that the justice system regarding who gets to drive on our roads in Rhode Island is broken, okay? Listen to this. Grammy-nominated musician struck and killed by driver with over 100 arrests in Rhode Island, said the police. A Grammy-nominated musician was struck and killed by a driver with more than 100 arrests and dozens of traffic violations in Rhode Island. Roderick McLeod, 70, was a member of the band Roomful of Blues in the 1980s and received a Grammy nomination for his work with them. He was inducted into the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame in 2014. McLeod was walking his dogs when he was hit by a car on Saturday, the Hopkintown Police Department said in a news release. The alleged driver was identified by police as Shannon Godbout. She was 41. Godbout was allegedly traveling eastbound when she left her lane and struck several objects, including 2 telephone poles, and McLeod was walking his dog on the shoulder of the road when he was hit. And here is, I hope you can see this, here's a picture of how her car ended up. Destroying the car, killing McLeod, and just making a mess out of everything. After McLeod was struck, he was transported to Rhode Island Hospital where he died from his injuries. McLeod's dog survived the crash and ran home. Godbout, now check this out. Not only did she have 100, was it arrests? Let's look at this. She had 100 arrests. 100 times she was arrested and dozens of traffic violations. Why the hell does she have a driver's license any longer? Godbout was allegedly in possession of numerous illegal narcotics and packaging materials commonly associated with drug distribution. She was arrested at the scene and taken to an area hospital. She has been charged with driving as to endanger, resulting in death, and possession of narcotics with intent to distribute. She may face additional charges. Police did not detail Godbout's previous arrests, but said 8 were from the Hopkintown Police Department. 42 count warrants have been issued for her, police said, and she has received 40 traffic violations. Now, the justice system, I think it's a liberal state in Rhode Island, is broken. This should have never happened. Never happened. You know, if you get 50 arrests and multiple driving problems, shouldn't you have your license suspended permanently? You know, she would have been better on the bus. And McLeod, that's the songwriter, Roderick McLeod, 70, would be alive today if the justice system and the Department of Motor Vehicles in Rhode Island were doing their job. Horrific. Now let's bring it home for a minute. Let me show you a complete creep. And his name is Jose Gutierrez. I've written some commentary on here, but just ignore that. There he is. He was traveling 100 miles an hour and caused an 11-car crash, I think it was. I'm just looking in the article. I know it was at least 11 cars. His girlfriend was sitting next to him, who was pregnant. She died. She was thrown out of the car, probably going, I don't like to wear seatbelts. You know, she was thrown out of the car. I don't think she was thrown out because the seatbelt broke. They're pretty tough. You have to cut them, you know, to get them to break. So she probably wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and she's pregnant. Anyway, he's driving 100 miles an hour. hit a bunch of cars waiting at a stop sign. She was ejected, died on the scene. 3 other people died from this crash. He claims that he had an epileptic fit or something, and that's why he was going so fast. Maybe he said his foot pressed on the gas pedal. Well, if he has that kind of maladies, why is he driving a car? Now, he has a history as well. The department released a video on its public records unit. Metro has agreed to release body camera footage from an October traffic stop in which the Gutierrez was cited for speeding. According to online court records, that traffic case is still open. So he's already got some previous stuff going on. Now, you can't really take away a person's license because they were speeding one time. However, people need to know what I believe should be the law. Somebody kills his girlfriend, a baby. They don't count that as being a live person. BS. It's a life within that woman. So his girlfriend, the baby who's unborn, and 3 other people. So this Gutierrez killed 5 people, took 5 lives. Regardless of whether he had an epileptic fit or not, he shouldn't be driving if he has epilepsy. And if he was being irresponsible, I saw a picture. I saw a video on the news. The car goes like this. Let me get my hand up here. The car goes like this, 100 miles an hour. Let me show you. I don't know what kind of car it is in, but watch this. Watch this. Watch this. That's how fast the car was going. 100 miles an hour, probably in a 35 or 45 mile an hour zone. And all these people are waiting at the light and he crashes into them. The first car he hit exploded into a fireball. Now, this person will either be put in jail for life, because what are 5 lives worth? I do not agree that you and I, the taxpayer, should pay for his rent, his food, his health care, whatever else he gets in jail for the rest of his life. No. The message we should send to people that are going to be irresponsible on the roads, if you cause major damage or kill more than, kill 1 person or more, like he did, killing 5 people, then you are going to be in jail for a short period of time, and then you are going to be required to do community service for 10 hours a day, every Saturday for the rest of your life, until you are so old that you can no longer function. And the reason I believe that is, what is 1 life, let alone 5 lives? What are they worth? And the taxpayer should not have to pick up the bill of all, I got a toothache. Oh, this creep gets dental care when we got great people out there who drive responsible and they don't get dental care. They can't afford it. No, no, no. I am sick and tired of us picking up the tab on these absolute insane maniacs. Okay? And it would send a strong message to people, hey, it's not worth it. Don't drive crazy. You want to tell your girlfriend you can't go to the concert because you have to do community service every Saturday for the rest of your life because you killed 5 people? It's not worth it, Dave. Call Uber. Do not drive drunk. A lot of people would respond to that, and we would see the deaths coming down on our roads. And the crazy driving all of us see every day. Running red lights, not stopping at a red stop sign, blowing through that, speeding, changing lanes dangerously. Now, a lot of people believe in reincarnation like I do. So if we just kill this guy, yeah, we've put him beyond being able to hurt anybody this lifetime. But if anyone out there watching this show, like I do, believe in reincarnation, we have sent our problem into the future, making somebody else deal with him because he's going to be reincarnated, grow up. He'll probably do the same mayhem in that next life where we could, try to rehabilitate him to some point. And let me tell you, it rehabilitates a person when they do amends for grievous things they've done. It doesn't do any good to have him sitting in a jail, getting free everything. he's not making up anything for the 5 lives he caused to be dead. Okay? He needs to do a lifetime of amends. If it was one person, he should do lifetime of amends. And someone might say, oh, that's so harsh. Well, tell that to the families who no longer have their loved ones anymore. What about the mom who is expecting to see his girlfriend's baby? Not going to happen. Okay? I'm sick of this kind of crap. Okay, now, let me show you how you can be effective with whatever is getting you bugged. This is what I told you, this letter I wrote to the RJ because I was really upset about something. They gave me a call today and they said, hey, we're running your letter on Saturday. I'm going to copy that letter off. I'm going to send that all over the place because I believe in what I said in this letter, which I'm going to read to you right now. And this is a message to all of you watching. You can make a difference by writing a letter to the editor. It gets published. You don't know who's going to read it. Copy it off. You know, it costs pennies to copy 100 of them off. Paste it up nicely, copy it off, send it out to all your friends and associates. And, you know, maybe if it's about drunk driving, maybe you'll get somebody to stop drunk driving and you might save a life. When you thought, what can I do? I'm just one person. I can't make a difference. Yes, you can. Because we have the power to make a positive difference in this world. Here's what I wrote. It was titled, It's the Parents' Responsibility. There has been quite a bit of discussions lately that start times for schools should be moved up because teachers notice that students coming to school on the current schedule seem sleepy in class. The solution is not to change the school start times, causing difficulties for parents that both work and drive their children to school. The proper solution to sleepy students is a responsibility of the parents. They must ensure that their children get to bed and to sleep at a proper time so that they get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep before coming to school. If this means turning off the TV and the video games, so be it. Students must arrive to school after the parents have made sure that they have eaten a protein-based breakfast so that their bodies have the energy to study until lunchtime. Causing taxpayers to support free breakfast, changing school start times, and other remedies for situations that our parents should be responsible for is not the proper way to make sure that students can study and learn. We must ensure that young people are properly educated. They are the future of this country, and without a proper education, they will be much easier to be manipulated by vested interests with goals for the few and not the overall amount of citizens in this country, and that could ruin this country. Okay? Evil people have worked for years to destroy the educational system. If I was evil, I wouldn't want young people to be bright and asking questions I don't want them to ask. Of course. So if you're in this area, pick up the newspaper Saturday and you'll see my letter to the editor, and you can do the same thing, and you should. You will feel like, wow, I did something. Maybe somebody read that. Maybe I'll save a life. Maybe I'll change some thinking. Maybe one of our public servants, our elected officials, might read it and go, hey, I should introduce a bill to fix that. You never know what might happen, but you can do it. Okay, take a writing course if you have to, but I don't think that's necessary. Just read your letter out loud and make sure it sounds good and email it in. Now, I talked about the reasons that Gavin, who I call Gavin Newsom, ruining my home state of California, must never be allowed to be president. Let me give you some statistics here from Victor David Hansen. He writes for the RJ. He's very good. California has a lot of other firsts among the 50 states. The largest population of illegal aliens, point number one. And that's because Biden opened the floodgates and let anybody who wanted to come in. And Newsom was in agreement with that. California has the largest number of homeless people. Well, if you were evil, would you want people doing well and being able to have time to look into what you're doing that's evil? No, you want them homeless, where every day they're spending trying to find out how they're going to eat. That keeps them so busy. They're never going to find out the crimes that are going on in Washington. They have no time or energy to do that. If I was evil, that's exactly where I'd want people. California has the largest number of homeless people. California has the largest number of people fleeing a state. Yeah, good people are going, I'm out of here. This place is being ruined. And that means that if the good people are leaving, who pay the taxes, because the homeless people don't pay taxes, people on welfare, whatever, that is shrinking, which is going to cause California to go further in debt because there's nobody, hardly all, paying any taxes. California has the largest number, 11 million, and percentage 27% of foreign-born residents. Now, that can be good or bad. Doesn't mean because someone is foreign-born, they're necessarily bad, but in a lot of cases, they are. California has the largest number of people living in poverty. Again, if you were evil, think about it if you were evil. Wouldn't you want people all preoccupied with food and rent and all that stuff? Because they're never going to be able to look into the crimes you're doing. It's the trick the magician uses. He gets your attention over here, and over here he does the trick. He doesn't want your attention over here. You'll see how the trick's done. You'll see the crimes that are going on in Washington if people are not all sucked into basic living. California has the largest food prices in the continental U.S. So people are preoccupied again with trying to bring food to the table. California has the state's infrastructure is usually rated near the bottom. That means the bridges are falling down, and salesmen can't get to their jobs, so you have less tax revenue being generated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. California ranks among the 5 worst states in per capita violent crime. Keep things violent. That means people will not go out of their homes. Then they won't go to restaurants. You're further bringing society down. And Gavin Newsom is in charge of the state that has these wonderful statistics, okay? Newsom recently boasted that he extended Medi-Cal health insurance to thousands more illegal aliens. They do not deserve Medi-Cal, okay? They're not citizens. So no wonder Newsom next begged for nearly $3 billion Medi-Cal federal bailout. Half of the state's 41 million residents are now on Medi-Cal. Half. So 20 million people are counting on the government to give them all kinds of stuff. That's not the government's job. Here are a few other observations about the current disaster that is Newsom's California. California is a naturally wealthy state. It is the 3rd largest in oil reserves. No nation has more agricultural production or forested land acreage. So it's hard to bankrupt California, but Newsom has managed it. Two under prior governors, Pat Brown, Ronald Reagan, George Deukmejian, and Pete Wilson, California used to be the best run state in the country. Okay? A lot of Republicans in there. Now we got a Democrat running California, ruining it. California once produced more oil than any other state except Texas. It's now moribund under timber industry, once used to be the 3rd largest in the nation, and its current ossified mining and mineral industries were once among the top 10 producers in the country. Three, no state politician over the past 3 decades has been more responsible for California's decline than Newsom. 6 years as governor, 8 years as lieutenant governor, 7 years as mayor of San Francisco, and 7 years on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. 4, California chose decline. In the past 30 years, it drove out somewhere between 18 million and 20 million affluent and middle-class residents, the largest state exodus in U.S. history. Yeah, get rid of the middle class, because the middle class and the upper class have a little bit of time to look into what crap you're doing. They want to get rid of those guys. Get rid of them. They want a bunch of people on drugs, can't function. I mean, if you were able to interview a lion, right, in Africa, if you could interview a lion and you ask him, what do you spend most of your time doing? Looking for my next meal. Does he have time, if he have the mental ability, to look into what the president of whatever state his land area is in to see if things are being run ethically? No. That lion is preoccupied with food and shelter and bringing up his kids. That's where Gavin Newsom wants the people. Get rid of the middle class, get rid of the upper class. They're dangerous. They're going to bring a spotlight on our crimes. So get rid of them. There are no Republican statewide office holders. Democrats, sorry, I said it wrong. Democrats control all branches of government. Only 17% of its congressional delegation is Republican, so the left proudly owns what California has become. I can't even say it. It is a hole. Certainly not high-speed rail. 17 years, 15. Let me say this slowly for you. They have been working on the high-speed rail for 17 years. Guess how much money has been spent that could have been spent on helping the homeless, fixing our schools, fixing the roads? $15 billion. Listen to that. $15 billion, and not 1 foot of track has ever been laid. That is people ripping off the state to the tune of $15 billion. Yeah, we'll get to laying down some track as soon as we do these environmental studies and do these other studies to find out if the dirt's going to be upset of us building a track. So it's going to take some while. So meanwhile, we're going to accept these exorbitant salaries, and $15 billion later, not 1 inch of track has been laid. In other words, in the Democratic primaries, Newsom will try to out-crazy the violence, profanity, and extremism of the now crazy Democrat socialists. He'll try to cover all that up and say, oh, I'm so good, and he's kind of handsome, so people think, oh, this guy's kind of cool. Newsom will lecture on the affordability without mentioning that he has created the most unaffordable state in the nation. He has ruined California. He has caused scores of people to be homeless because they wouldn't manage their water properly in that fire that happened recently. He must never become president, because then he'll ruin the country. Of course, that's exactly who he's being run by, people that want to ruin this country. And guess who he is a blood relative of? Nancy Gross Pelosi. They just keep revolving these people, keep moving their people into positions of control as they work to destroy this country. I'm sure if they weren't watched on a security camera, they would spit on the Constitution, our Bill of Rights. They don't want it taught in schools. They don't want young people saying, hey, you can't do that. Young people on college campuses right now, already their minds poisoned. A percentage of them say, well, if communication by somebody who comes to speak at the college upsets somebody, he shouldn't no longer have freedom of speech. This is a bastardization of our basic rights and our basic freedoms. Somebody says something you don't like, it upsets you, so he can't say that anymore. And what the college students do when somebody is coming to a college campus to speak, then they threaten to have a huge riot. The college campus and the security people get together and say, we can't afford the overtime. So they cancel the speaker. these evil people have got our young people fighting against themselves. Back in the 60s, they had a free speech movement in Berkeley, and they stayed on the campus until they had the right to have free speech on that campus. Anybody could set up a table for any reason. Not today. No, they have pumped these kids full of false information. And now a percentage of them say, yeah, if it upsets somebody, I don't think they should be allowed to speak. Welcome to communist USA. That's why it's important to get our kids educated. That's why it's important for you to take your kid out of public school. It is a brainwashing mechanism. Get them the heck out of there. Get them into a charter school. School them at home. Whatever it takes. Do not put them through the public school brainwashing camp any longer. Not 1 minute longer. If you care about your kids and you care about them having any kind of freedoms once we are gone. And Gavin Newsom, never as president. And they killed Charlie Kirk. He was doing a fantastic job of turning people away from this horrible viewpoint that freedom of speech is no longer allowed. He was turning them around. He was very young. I know that the negative, evil people behind closed doors said, we got to get rid of him because if he sticks around for 30 years, there won't be anybody left to vote for us and all of our crimes will be investigated. Great. But that's why they killed him, because they wanted to silence the great work he was doing. They think they can kill anybody they want. Martin Luther King, Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Princess Diana, anybody gets in their way, Sonny Bono, they don't care. They do not care. They're psychotic, evil individuals. And Gavin Newsom is doing their bidding. Never must he become president. And we have the power to stop it. You have the power to write a letter to the editor. Check Saturday's paper and read the letter that I got in the paper that I believe will change minds. Next Thursday at 5 p.m., we do the show again, and I'll be talking about what it's like to be the head of a band. Now, you can transfer this over to being the head of anything. You have to just have a purpose. You have to have a goal. You have to hang in there because there's going to be disappointments and changes. People have lives, stuff comes up, and I will illuminate that next Thursday at 5 p.m. Now, it just so happens that this year, Christmas falls on Thursday, so I will not be doing a show on Christmas Day. It'll be a rerun, and then we'll get started with a brand new year and my 6th year of doing the show, and we're going to have some exciting shows coming up, all designed to remind you that we have the power to keep our freedoms intact. Thank you for watching today. Have a good week.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.